In this video, we are going to explore important strategies for PTE academic speaking, describe an image. So today's video is not going to be a normal lesson where I just show you a picture and tell you what to say or give you a random format and to say like follow this. We are going to understand something much deeper: how to think under pressure, how to organize your ideas instantly, how to control your response even when you don't fully understand the content. Because I'll tell you something very honestly, most students don't lose marks on PT academic because their English is weak. They lose marks because their thoughts are scattered, their structure collapse, they panic in real time. Okay, so I'm going to give you a visual decoding system for describe an image. Okay, what is this one really? So now most of you can think, I just need to describe an image. Whatever given in the image, I'm just going to tell. No, that's wrong. That's exactly where you fall because you try to say too much, then you lose structure. You will be running out of time. I'm going to give you a framework which I'm going to call it as a visual map system. So this is your control system. Okay. So V is for view type, which means what kind of image is that? First, you have to analyze the image, whether is that a bar chart or a line graph or a process diagram or a map. Okay. And after that, you have to identify the trend, which stands for I. So here, what is your main story? Whether the trend is increasing or decreasing, or is it showing any comparison, or is it demonstrating the fluctuation? All these things comes under I, where you have to identify the trend. And the next one is S, which means you have to select the data points. You are supposed to pick two to three or sometimes four more than important numbers in order for you to describe the image, right? And then U for extremes. You should understand the extremes, whether it is highest or lowest. And then add comparisons, right? Like here, you're going to compare the categories, and L is for link and conclude. So here you are going to provide a smooth ending. Now I'm just going to show you a bar graph. Have a look at it. Identify, analyze, and understand. By that time, I'm going to give my response here. Okay. So the given bar chart illustrates the percentage of students in 5 different countries who prefer online learning over traditional classroom methods in 2023. Overall, it is clear that online learning is widely preferred, with noticeable variation across countries. India records the highest preference at around 80%, followed by Canada and USA at approximately 70 and 65%, respectively. In contrast, Germany and Japan show lower preferences with figures close to 55 and 50%. In conclusion, while online education is popular globally, the level of acceptance differs significantly between regions. Now, this is my response. I'll tell you why it works well. Here, I did not describe everything. Here, I have given my control structure. And remember, I have followed the visual flow, which I have given you the strategy, right? And some of the random mistakes that students will do here is sometimes they speak very randomly. They read each and every number. And finally, they will not give any conclusion. Okay? So remember the important key strategies when it comes to describe an image. First, you have to identify the key elements, as I told you before, whether that's a graph or a chart or a map, so and so. Then you have to find out the structure, the interaction, main details, and the conclusion. Then you can use connecting words, example like in contrast, to summarize. So many connectors and transition words you can apply when you're giving your speaking, okay? And finally, stay calm and don't rush. Try to manage your time. If you forget something, smoothly you can move on. And I'm going to give you a super flexible foolproof structure. Okay, the first step is you have to do the introduction. So what does the graph show, or what does the image show? Whatever it could be, it can be a bar graph or it can be any type of image, but try to give the first one as the introduction. You can start with a sentence which introduces the image. Say, for example, the bar graph illustrates the number of tourists visiting 5 countries in 2023 or something like that. So, whatever the picture illustrates, you can start as an introduction. And step two, there you have to give the overview. So, there you are going to tell what's the overall trend. This is your golden moment to show the big picture. Okay. And step three, here you have to do the compare and contrast, where you can mention the key details, especially when it comes to the pictograph or bar graph kind of thing, where the compare and contrast exists, right? So you can pick two or three comparisons that stand out. You can talk about the highest preferences or the lower preferences, so many things, right? And step four, you can use numbers selectively. You don't have to mention every number. Okay, remember this, because many of the students, as I'm telling you, they try to focus on each and every number. Don't do that. You can highlight any four or few numbers, which is very important for you to speak. And finally, conclusion or prediction. Sometimes you have to predict, right? If it is required. So that time you can do the prediction. So wrap it up with a summary or a guess. Say, for example, in conclusion, countries with advanced infrastructure received more tourists, and this trend is likely to continue. So, and this trend is likely to continue. So, this is your guess, this is your prediction, right? So, you can always give a conclusion with a prediction if possible. And I'm going to give you a pro tip. Remember to use linking words, words such as whereas, on the other hand, similarly, in contrast, in order to keep your flow smooth and logical. And let's talk about some of the skills that is required for you to score high in this task. The first one is observation. You have to quickly identify what's important because you don't have time to describe everything here. And the second one is prioritization. That means you are going to focus on the highest, lowest, and anything unusual or unexpected when it comes to the bar graph. Or if it is a process diagram or some other type of images, then you have to focus your prioritization based on the structure of the picture. So the third one is language variety. Don't repeat the same phrases. You can say like increased, decreased one or two times, and then you can use words like remain constant, stood at, peaked at, dropped to, right? Try to use them creatively. And the fourth one is fluency over perfection. So you won't get points for silence while thinking of fancy vocabulary words. Try to keep speaking, even if it's simple English, that's fine. So just keep the flow. And pronunciation and clarity. So I always say fluency over perfection. Remember that. And here your pronunciation also matter. So you're not being judged on your accent. You just need to speak clearly and naturally. Record yourself and listen back so that you will get an idea where you're going wrong. Got it? So, if you change just one thing today, you will really get high score in this task. The first one is stop reacting to the task and start controlling the task. Okay? Because in this exam, the student who controls the structure always scores higher than the students who knows more English. So that's all for today's video. Kindly like, share, and subscribe for more PTA Academic. See you in the next video. Bye bye.